going on, everybody? Apocalypse Movies here, and we're here to review Deadpool 2. This is going to be an all spoilers review. Before we get started, let's introduce who we got here. I am your host, Jacob Bartley, by the way. I have Jake Berlin to my left and Brian Avellino to my right. What's going on, guys?
How's it going?
Excited to talk some Pool of Death 2.
Pool of Death 2. Hey, that's a good name right there.
Yeah,
this is crazy. Like, so many big movies coming out in such a short period of time. Like, we had Avengers Infinity War, Deadpool 2, Solo this week. It's crazy. So, let's jump into it. We haven't really talked about Deadpool 2. We saw it together, Jake and I. But
Thursday.
We didn't really talk much. I honestly didn't know how I felt when I first left the screening.
There was a lot to kind of process.
Yeah.
The movie definitely had a lot. In comparison to the first movie, it had a lot going on.
Oh, for sure. I agree with you. The first one was simple. This one's just like balls to the walls crazy. Yeah. A lot of information to process. But I did see it a second time, and overall, after my second viewing, I really like the movie. I really like it. I like a lot of things about it. I do have some disappointments, but I'm sure we'll get into that. But what were your guys' first thoughts after seeing it?
It was okay.
Yeah?
That's all I got. Pretty much. I was not laughing as much as I thought I would.
Okay.
Definitely have more probably negatives almost than positives, honestly.
Wow. That's crazy. Yeah. No, I don't blame you because I didn't know how to feel after my first viewing, but I do recommend seeing it at least a second time.
There's a lot to process, and I will say that I definitely liked it. I definitely liked it more the second time than I did the first time.
Oh, you saw it twice?
I saw it with him because he didn't get to see it opening night. I definitely liked it just because there is so much going on, and knowing what's happening lets you kind of just experience it differently.
Exactly. I agree.
And so I still definitely have problems with it, but I did like it more the second time than I did the first time.
For sure. I agree with your point. Like, there was things, little hints in the beginning of the film, throughout the middle, that led to things that happened later on. But still, you should be able to watch the film once and enjoy it. You know what I mean? You shouldn't have to watch it a second time. But overall, I don't think it's a bad movie. For me, it's not even close to a bad movie. It's really good. It didn't exceed my expectations at all. It didn't reach them necessarily, but it wasn't too far off. For me, I just think the Deadpool character is still great.
Ryan Reynolds, he is what he does with that character, like what he's able to do with not just Wade Wilson as far as, you know, outside the suit with Vanessa and like everything going on with them, but him under the suit just being Deadpool, like
exactly.
It's the character from the comics. It's exactly what he should be. To be honest, there were moments in this movie though that I was like, man, they're really reaching for it, as far as like him being funny or saying something vulgar or whatever. I love what they captured in the first movie so much, and what they did with the second movie was so different that it almost like had me thinking, man, do I like what they're doing with it? But at the end of the day, I do like it because what Ryan Reynolds does with the character is just, it's flawless. He is so good under that mask and like just being outlandish and ridiculous. And so yeah, the Deadpool character, it's one of the best going for sure.
Yeah, I agree with you. Just him as a character is still great. But I do agree with you, sometimes he goes too far a little bit.
Yeah.
And for me, if that was just like a YouTube video I was watching, it would be hilarious. But in the context of the movie, sometimes it goes too far.
Well, it takes you out of it.
Exactly.
You know,
and then, all right, let's get back to the story real quick. Like, it's almost like he's doing a bid for a minute, and then let's get back to the story. Like, the baby legs thing. That's hilarious, but it pauses the movie for a second.
Okay,
it's hilarious, though.
That's the one part of this movie that...
You tapped his...
So, like, the one big thing,
I love it,
and we were gonna try to do this like we did the Infinity War discussion. We're trying to go back and forth fantasy wild.
Well, I brought up Deadpool as a character. That's what we're talking about first. So
the comedy, the one big thing I had an issue with in this movie. As soon as I walked out of the first viewing, it was like, man, it was great how funny it was, but I loved how serious the first one was. On top of being funny,
that's my main
This
problem.
one became a straight comedy, but I will say the one moment that I absolutely died in this movie was Baby Legs. Dude. It was... It could have taken you out of the movie, yes, but I was just dying in my seat laughing. I could not get over the fact that he had these baby legs.
And when he gets up and starts walking towards Cable.
When it's all like this serious moment, Cable's like, oh god, this is so gross. And then that line later on, he's like, now I will never forget someone, a grown man with baby balls. Like, it's such a good bit. Yes, it is a bit, but it's a great moment in the movie for sure.
For sure. And it's a callback to the first one. It's not just out of nowhere. Yeah. But for me, comedy...
That hand moment in the first movie...
Yeah. That was great, too.
So creepy.
It's so good, though. It's just
so creepy.
I just think that, yes, there was way too much comedy in this movie. The first one, like you said, perfect blend of seriousness and comedy. There was way more comedy than seriousness in this movie.
Well, and the comedy in the first one was very much like dark comedy.
Yeah.
Because it was him. It was almost when he was all killing everyone. In that montage of him becoming Deadpool, it was like him making jokes, like the ice scene. He's like, "You're gonna die in 5 minutes." Like, that's funny because it's really quick. It's over and done with. Now we're moving on.
Yeah.
This stayed focused on central comedy moments for so long. I kind of got bored with it after a while. Mm-hmm. And because there's so much that goes on in the first hour of this movie, you really get exhausted with what's going on. You just kind of want everything to kind of start picking up.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you. Yeah, it's one of my major flaws for sure.
Yeah,
but I still think everything that happens is hilarious. It's just how you
It's very funny, but it's just kind of the way that it happens.
So what's something else that you wanted to talk about regarding the movie?
Well, there's a couple things. I don't want to get into the one big thing just yet because I kind of want to save it. But this is something that maybe not a lot of people have thought about, but I don't like the fact that they focus so much on that Deadpool can be ripped in half and him still come back to life. There were multiple parts in this movie where he would literally be... His head would cut off, or his head would twist, a broken neck, or he'd be ripped in half, or he got blown up by the gasoline in the beginning. Like, I get it. He can still be alive even though he gets blown up, but just do it once or twice. Like,
doesn't it happen like 5 times?
Well, he got like I didn't like when the Juggernaut ripped him in half. That was kind of stupid to me, even though it led to baby legs. Like, that doesn't really.
Well, I wouldn't have. I don't think you would have minded as much if he didn't already get blown up.
He blew himself up. We saw it happen twice.
Smash his head on a rock and fall down.
Yeah, like we saw it happen multiple times.
He didn't twist his arm around Cable's neck, which was also funny.
That was great how he used it. Yeah. But and he also fell on the table and his body broke in the prison scene.
Yeah. So pretty much
like it was happening constantly.
He died
in the movie.
like 5 times.
Yeah, and he said it in the movie. He's like, "Well, Wolverine, I'm gonna die too." But it's like, it doesn't need to happen every 10 minutes. And so I kind of just got exhausted with it. And by the end, when like whatever happened when he was legitimately dying, I was just like, okay, he's just gonna come back to life.
I didn't take it seriously.
Like he's just gonna come back to life anyway.
Well, it took the effect away. In the first movie, when he rips his arm off, you're like, oh shoot, did he really just do that? Yeah. Now it's not surprising. I agree with you.
Yeah, so I was kind of annoyed by that because he literally, like, it's different when he breaks an arm and he's wrapping it around Cable's head, or he gets stabbed in the head with the spike at the end of the battle scene or whatever, but he literally loses limbs and body parts throughout the movie multiple times, and I got exhausted by it.
I really got exhausted. I mean, it's a fun tool for them to use, but if you use it too much, it gets old.
And it goes back to the comedy factor. And then it was all a bit.
How many times are they going to do it in XForce and in Deadpool 3? Like, are they going to just keep doing it?
Yeah.
I don't know. How'd you feel about that, Brian?
No, I definitely agree. I didn't notice it probably as much. Like, obviously I noticed him dying a bunch of times, but I don't think I minded it as much as you. I thought the whole gasoline exploding part was kind of stupid. I mean, the part of him setting it up was funny, but like,
yeah, for sure,
it was unnecessary. Like that part, the prison part where he like got all bent when he died.
Yeah, that was weird. Like he just literally just fell, and his body just like fell. Like every bone in his body broke. And
like that was unnecessary, but like the other ones, I didn't mind too much. I didn't mind the Juggernaut ripping him in half. What other ones were there? There's like, well,
he broke his head. He twisted his head around, which we saw in the trailers.
I thought that was kind of funny.
So there's not as many as the broken limbs or torn off limbs as you probably would expect, but it's just like we get it. Like,
I think like individually those scenes are funny, but when you do it 5 times in the movie, it's not as funny.
So let's say the Juggernaut one was probably the last one, right? As far as him being broken apart.
Well,
I think so. Yeah, because then they go into battle after that. After he heals, they go into battle.
His head after?
No, I
Wasn't
think.
that after?
Well, the spike through the head
the
was
spike
afterwards.
through the head was definitely one, yeah. But
No, the part where his whole side.
well, that was when he broke out of prison before Juggernaut.
Yeah, that's right.
So, let's say
so many you can't.
Yeah, exactly.
let's say the Juggernaut was the last one. That all happened in the first 60% of the movie.
Yeah.
Like that is so much to take in the first 60%
for
of the
sure.
movie. That's crazy.
And it's like, why did Juggernaut even do that? Like, he never even.
It was
met
just
Deadpool
an enjoyment,
before.
and well,
Like,
yeah.
I thought it was kind of funny.
He goes, "I've always dreamed."
It's like,
Yeah.
Well, I liked how he was a fan of Juggernaut. I
He's
thought
all
that
X-Men
was funny.
211.
Well, did you
he's
notice
dancing around, and
he said, "I should have worn my white pants."
Yeah.
because it's a joke from the first one where
he
he's
shit
like,
his
"This
pants,
guy's wearing the brown pants." Yeah, there's a lot of callbacks to the first.
There
movie.
is. Well, and I love how it's kind of a buggy point, I guess, but they didn't use the fourth wall as much in this movie as they did in the first one. He didn't like talk to the screen or they didn't pause
straight
stuff.
up just as much.
But they did
kind of a narrator.
Well, they did use the whole like I love Juggernaut in X-Men number 22 or whatever it is, and like he was on the outside world type of stuff, which was kind of cool. But I do miss him like stopping the stuff and literally looking at us and talking.
Yeah.
There were only the moments of him just looking at us instead of talking.
The one where Colossus says, "You make it so hard,"
Yeah.
and he's like, he looks at the screen. That one was good.
Well, that's
like
a
that
moment we can go to because that happens in the X-Mansion. How about the X-Men?
Well, yeah, I did want to
Popping up
talk
for
about
half the
that. Was
second.
cool. That was a cool cameo.
I like when he slides the doors.
Yeah. Well,
and that was one of the few parts where I really started laughing. Where he just slides the doors.
And how he didn't see them was great.
Yes, and they're all just like looking like, okay,
who the hell is this guy?
Who was all there? So we had James McAvoy.
Beast was there. McAvoy. Cyclops was there. Storm was there.
Was Storm there? I only caught.
Quicksilver.
You know who
was
wasn't there?
That's who
was
I
Jean
caught.
Grey.
Yeah, Jean Grey wasn't there.
Dude, all right. This made me think of something. The first Deadpool movie's in the '90s, right?
Mm-hmm.
When does this movie take place?
Yeah.
So then, and how does that line up with the XMen timeline? That's what makes me think, because Dark Phoenix is supposed to take place in the '90s.
Yeah. I don't think this one's like a 10-year gap, but this is definitely like
it might be
a
late
couple
90s
months or maybe a few years because
I would say like 2 or 3 years
at max. I would say probably at most
because
a couple
still with
years.
Vanessa,
yeah, and when they're still in the same apartment,
Yeah.
and he said he went international after some stuff, and so it's definitely close by to the first one. But Dark Phoenix does take place in the '90s, and it's interesting. Like, what if we hear him in the background?
That's what I was thinking
of
too.
Dark
yeah.
Phoenix just yelling.
Like they're
just
having a meeting, and you
quick
just
run over.
You hear him, yeah, and
that
they
would be
close
hilarious.
the door.
That'd be so funny.
And I do think that's going to be the case because you didn't see Jean Grey there, and we know who the Dark Phoenix is.
It would be a cool because they said Dark Phoenix is going to be super dark or whatever, but it would just be a cool, interesting moment to hear him yelling.
Oh yeah.
In the background or in the chair. There's a bunch of old white guys in here. I should have brought my rape whistle.
Exactly.
Just randomly in the background.
Yeah.
Like
I think that would be hilarious.
It would be really
well, the
good.
X-Men movies have had their little pepper of comedy
exactly,
here and there, so that could be a moment in there, and it could just tie everything
It
together.
would excite fans, just like this moment excited Deadpool fans.
Yeah, for sure.
For the ones who know it anyway.
Well, one of my big positives is Colossus. I thought
really
they
good.
took his character. I liked him in the first one. I like him even better in this one, and I love him and Deadpool's relationship.
Yeah, they're really good.
It's so good.
Yeah,
like I never thought I would be a fan of Colossus.
It's a brother-brother relationship.
Yeah,
it is.
for
and
sure.
The way that he kind of takes him under his wing and just kind of going off that, but the whole him becoming an X-Men part in that scene where, you know.
No, he was an X-Men trainee.
An X-Men trainee, excuse me. And he's saying, he's like, 4 or 5 moments, and Colossus' face just like lights up.
Yeah.
Like it's such a good relationship between the two of them.
Yeah, it's such a good one because they're so different.
Yeah.
And they balance each other off, and like when he says, "Just say F for me one time." Like,
Well, and then he kind of goes, Colossus like time to get dirty, and he goes, "Full CGI fight coming your way." And that's a really cool moment too because we don't. Out of all the X-Men movies, there isn't a lot of Colossus in any of them.
Mm-mm.
Like, he isn't used as much as he probably should have because he was a founding member in the comics.
Oh, yeah.
He's used really well in this because he goes up against Juggernaut and whatnot, and so it's a really cool thing in there.
I loved, even though Juggernaut didn't look great to me, CGI-wise, I loved that fight between him and Colossus.
The fight is great.
I loved it.
I didn't like the inclusion of Juggernaut.
Overall in the movie?
No, I didn't think he should have been in there.
I liked the inclusion of him. He looked like a cartoon.
Yeah, he definitely looked bad.
Looked really
Yeah.
Well, and there's some bad CGI moments in this movie.
Absolutely. When Domino's running
domino
through the street,
scene, the domino one's
it's
horrible.
terrible.
So
and
bad.
Honestly, that takes me out of movies. Honestly,
Yeah.
it decreases the value.
That
of the
moment
movie
could have
for me.
been really, really cool.
It could have been amazing, dude.
Because the character's cool, and they really hammered home the whole "she's lucky" thing. But the CGI was just really bad.
It was so bad. That could have been another Quicksilver scene from Days of Future Past. Like, it could have been that great, but because of the CGI,
well, and
when the car spins into the gas station,
and they used it wrong with like her
so
jumping off the car and like just certain things they could have done with her they could have done better. But yeah, the CGI was definitely the worst part of it.
I like her though.
She's good. She's really good.
There are very few times in this where I start like busting out laughing when she saw what I don't remember what it was exactly.
His face?
Where she like comes around the corner and she sees something.
Oh, it was Juggernaut, and she's like, "Nope."
Yeah, and she just that face she makes.
Oh
that,
yeah.
Like everyone has when they see something they don't want to do.
That was
just
funny.
Go, nope, and she just beelines it back out.
That's funny because she's not scared of anything because she's so lucky. But she saw him, she's like, I'm not testing my luck with that.
No, she was.
I thought she was really good.
She played the character really well. I imagine. I don't know. X-Men is probably one of the lesser known comic books of me. And so I don't know a whole lot about Domino and
me neither,
her history.
honestly.
But I imagine with whatever they gave her, it's far different from the comics. Because it feels that way. It just feels like it was kind of out of place as far as the character goes. But as far as her character and how she plays her, it was awesome. Like, she played her really well. I would have liked to have seen her in a little bit more action.
Exactly, yeah.
Like, she was definitely underused.
At least half.
She was definitely underused as far as action goes. Even when they kind of did the trio action scene at the end, there wasn't a whole lot of her in there. But other than that, I thought she was used really well.
Yeah, I agree with you. I would have liked to see a little bit more of her. But when they did use her, it was great. Like when she fights those guys, when she's saving the kids.
Yeah.
Like the way, because she doesn't, her power's luck, right?
Yes.
So they utilize that, how the guys are falling and stabbing themselves and the dresser falls on the guy's head. Like, I thought it was done well. I just would have liked more of it.
Exactly.
Honestly.
Yeah.
One of my biggest things was I was surprised how long it took for her to get into this movie. Like, I understood, like, them, like, the path, if you will, of how it got to there, but, like, it was a solid at least halfway before she even
was she didn't show up till, like, the hour mark, because you got to think, this movie, like, so it started off with the montage of the international montage, and then it went to the story of Vanessa dying, of him, and then he goes to the X-Men, he's an X-Men trainee, and then he goes to prison, and then Cable shows up. So Cable doesn't show up to like the 45-minute mark.
Yeah.
It's a solid 15, 20 minutes.
I was wondering,
afterwards.
I was like, where's Cable? Where's Domino?
Yeah,
as I was
so
watching
she
the film.
definitely showed up at like the hour, maybe even after mark.
To be fair, they did have to just give us enough of Deadpool at first, because this is his movie.
Yeah.
And then... Well, I think we should talk about the recruiting the X-Force stuff.
Like, the recruitment of the X-Force stuff is interesting. Him and Weasel, T.J. Miller, who we'll never see back in this universe. Yeah. But
he was unneeded in this movie.
Yeah, I don't think they could have cut him out all the way just because it wouldn't have made sense.
Yeah,
because a lot of the stuff that happened in the bar.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And so, and even the recruitment of the X-Men.
I think they might have limited his role.
Though they did the reshoots. Well, I read something that they cut a lot of stuff out, but they couldn't cut everything out because it happened with the story.
Crucial with the story.
Yeah, so
that makes sense.
But no, the recruitment of the X-Force was interesting, and kind of how it happened, and the back and forth between him and Deadpool was fun. The Canada line was great. He's like, "Oh, you bastard," or whatever he says, and. There was one scene, though, in that recruitment, the Domino Deadpool thing, where they kept saying, yeah, it is, no, it isn't, yeah, it is. A little too long.
Yeah, for sure.
Other than that, I mean, and then it led to the X-Force scene, which I don't know how you two feel about it, but that's probably the weakest part of the movie for me.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I was disappointed that they all died, but I found myself laughing just thinking how ridiculous, after all of that happened.
Yeah.
The only thing I'm upset about is, and I had said this, you and I had a discussion about this before we saw it, was I was over the moon excited for Terry Crews, and he was in it for 45 seconds.
I'm torn because I did want to see Terry Crews have a big role in this movie, and obviously he didn't, and they took scenes from the trailers out to trick us.
Those were scenes shot specifically for the trailer, just like Infinity War.
Just like Infinity War. Yeah. I thought that was hilarious when they started.
It was funny, but dude, it was so stupid.
Jake
was.
You're mad because you wanted to see those characters like.
No, it's not even that. It's just like, why even include them just for the bit? It's literally for the bit.
I just think it's funny because I was thinking like, really, this is X-Force. Like in the trailers, I was like, this is X-Force. Like this is the first team of X-Force. And I just think so funny how they tricked all the fans. Like, I was completely caught off guard.
Oh, it's definitely for that reason.
Oh, absolutely.
It's 100%.
And maybe that's bad, but I still enjoyed it.
All of those characters there's no way that, like you said, there's no way that's the X-Force team.
Mm-mm.
There's no way. Maybe Peter, but that's about it.
Yeah.
Maybe Peter.
Well, you were upset that they killed
Shatterstar.
that one.
That was
Shatterstar is the biggest name outside
when
of the
it started
three.
happening, right? I was like, oh, these characters, they're not really like. I thought Shatterstar could like form back together. I was like, oh, it's fine. And then I was like, wait a minute, they're really killing these characters straight up. And then like with the popularity of Peter, I was like, really, that's it?
Yeah.
But you couldn't have had him in the whole movie. So
No,
way.
then it goes to the end credit scene where he only saved Peter.
Yeah.
Everyone else.
Why wouldn't he
died.
save everyone else? But Deadpool's
Peter's
a
his
douche,
boy.
like-
Peter's his boy.
Yeah.
Well, so this scene leads to one of the best cameos we've ever seen, but Brad Pitt
one,
as the
dude.
Vanisher.
I was, for a second, I was like, wait a second, was that Brad Pitt? And you tapped me, you were like, that's Brad Pitt. And I was
Dude,
like, what?
Brad Pitt shows
That
up
was
as
hilarious.
the Vanisher. I mean, he dies. Obviously, he's never going to come back. But it's a cool callback because he was originally going to be Cable.
Mm-hmm. I would have liked to seen that, but
I don't know, Josh. And
I did like Josh Brolin as
we
Cable.
had this conversation after I saw it the second time. But I would have loved to see Brad Pitt as Cable because it's Brad Pitt.
Yeah, exactly.
But Josh Brolin's Cable, like, he is awesome.
Oh yeah, no, I
good.
really like. I loved his portrayal of Cable. I would have liked a little bit more time spent on Cable's
he wasn't in there
backstory a little bit.
He
You know what I
wasn't in
mean?
there a lot.
I would have liked to maybe seen a couple scenes of him with his family before everything happens to get a sense of, like, of course they're his family, but I just wanted to see them together.
Yeah.
So I'd care more.
Yeah.
But other than that, I loved him as Cable. Like, I thought their banter was great, and some of the stuff that they talk about was great. And then one of my favorite moments, even though I didn't love how Ryan Reynolds kept, like, oh, I'm not dead yet, like that stuff, I love the moment when Cable brings him back because...
Yeah.
For me, Cable said it's so he can make sure the world doesn't go to crap or whatever. But I think it was partly because in that short moment of time that he knew Deadpool, he was like, I can't let this guy die.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I liked that moment when he brought him back.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it was a cool moment, and it obviously leads to everything else that is coming as well. And we know of their relationship in the comics and how close they are. And so I think Josh Brolin was a fantastic choice for the role. I definitely would have liked to have seen a little bit more of him. I kept hearing freaking Thanos' voice in there, like, over and over again.
I couldn't believe he said, cool it, Thanos.
I know.
Like...
So, but no, his role, I think it was awesome. I think that it's going to be awesome going forward, seeing them together. And so, I mean, it's interesting how they used him in this movie, but it's definitely it's a cool lead up because they're
it's a great
the main
setup
two.
For the character.
They're definitely the main two going forward with X-Force.
I would much rather X-Force be them three and whoever else is going to join the team, for sure.
Who do we do we think it's going to be someone new, or do we think we're going to see characters from maybe X-Men come into X-Force?
How do we know we're even guaranteed
an X-Force movie?
But let's just say,
working on it, but that doesn't guarantee it.
Let's just say it's happening, they're writing it, and do we think that we're going to see any current characters maybe
it's
move
weird
over?
because
I think they're gonna keep obscure, not obscure, but
less known.
Well, because Cable. See, I hate saying less known because Cable's pretty well known.
He's very popular,
but I mean,
to comic book fans.
Yeah, but I mean, like, Domino is not a huge name. Like, I mean,
not really.
She's not,
but she's
huge.
important to the Deadpool character.
Yeah, no, she's she's big in that sense. But I think one of the funniest shticks that they have is that they have all these people you've never heard of, random people like Negasonic Teenage Warhead, like all that type of stuff. So I don't think that they're ever going to use like big named characters for the fact of it'll take away from Deadpool.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, I think one character that could move over, I don't know if she ever will, but Psylocke.
Oh,
I think Psylocke would be a cool character.
Wasn't that a rumor before?
Because she's part of the heart.
Love to see Olivia Munn and Ryan
exactly,
Reynolds.
Like those two together.
She would fit in.
She would, yeah.
If she did like a dry, sarcastic, like, "Oh my god, this guy's so annoying," I would laugh.
And she's part of the X-Force in the comics. She's a big part of it.
I think she's gonna be.
There's also another character that no one really knows about. He's called Phantom X.
Okay.
He's a really cool character that I think that could easily be involved in this, but yeah, I mean, it could literally be anyone.
I think it's going to be a mix because, I mean, we know Colossus from the X-Men films.
Yeah.
They put him in, and I don't know why I said 3. It's 4 because.
Do we think Colossus is going to be in
there? Do we count Dopinger and Firefist as real members?
No. I think Firefist was a one.
We could talk about Firefist if we want, but
I found him in. Okay.
I think Colossus is going to be in the X-Force.
Okay.
I do.
I mean, I would love to see that
because it's such a different dynamic. His relationship with Colossus, Domino, and Cable are all different.
Yeah.
That's a great team right there. I think it's going to be a mixture. I think it's going to be mostly like B-level, C-level X-Men characters.
More than likely, yeah.
But I would love to, not because of my personal, but part of my personal reasons, but I would love to see an X-23 in there, honestly.
That, I think it would be, especially because Wolverine's gone, it's definitely likely.
And that character lends itself well to rated R. And her first appearance was in a rated R film, so I think it would make sense for her to be in it.
As far as Firefist, I'm
gonna take a wild gander and say you didn't like it.
I mean, there were certain times that I was like, okay, he's kind of cool. I don't think I liked the kid that played him. I think that.
I mean, it definitely was like out of left field.
Oh, for sure.
Like completely. But remember, this is fucking Deadpool.
Yeah. I did find it funny that when he was like, how many overweight superheroes do you see?
And then we talked about the latex or the spandex or whatever it is.
And stuff, I was just like, okay, I can kind of see why they're using this kid. But other than that, like...
He had his moments.
He did, yeah.
I think the best...
all bad.
I think the best stuff was him in the prison when he was getting socked in the face.
Yeah, that was pretty funny, actually.
His best thing was anytime he pulled out the pen.
Yeah, it was prison wallet.
Yeah,
like, that's just... And then Deadpool goes, oh my god, it's slippery.
Yeah.
And he goes, we need to wipe down.
Yeah, anytime the pen came out, I found myself, like, giggling.
But I definitely... It was definitely, like, out of left field. But remember, like, the coolest... I think my favorite part about this movie, and it's not action, it's not character, whatever, but how small of stakes this movie is.
Absolutely, yeah.
The world's not going to crap. He's trying to... The kid was literally just going to kill one person.
The worst thing that happens is he kills that person and then ends up killing Cable's family.
Yes.
That's it.
But
no, he kills off...
Okay.
But, that's fair, but I'm saying his goal was to kill one person. That's
They're
all
just
his
trying
goal
to stop
was.
him from doing
it's
it.
not world-ending.
In our
it's
reality,
like, yes, in the future it is, but it's such a small-stake movie, and it means so much to the character of Deadpool and like where he goes going forward. And so that's probably my favorite part. And yes, Russell may be, quote unquote, a bust as far as maybe not a likable character, but he meant so much to the story and the character of Deadpool, whether he's back or not.
Yeah. Well, he was a great plot device. Honestly.
Yes,
he really was. And I liked him in parts of the movie.
You guys don't think he'll be back? Cause
I don't think so.
I think they're gonna have to have him back because they made him seem so.
I mean, it would
kid aspect so important.
Yeah, it's just. It would be
back.
interesting because he is a 14-year-old kid, and it would feel out of place having him there, and I almost feel like he would be there just for the shtick of things, and so I don't know. I mean, because he was kind of just a running joke throughout the entire movie, and it would feel that way through XForce.
Definitely,
if he would be back.
I think they do. I think they are going to bring him back. I don't necessarily want him back, but
maybe he's an XForce trainee.
But with Deadpool, what you can do is Deadpool can just be like, "Oh, you're probably wondering where Russell is," and then Deadpool drops 2 sentences, boom, he's done. You know
like
what
the
I mean?
Hawkeye Ant-Man thing in
exactly.
Infinity War,
so you can totally do that. So I think one big thing we need to talk about is Vanessa. I didn't bring it up, even though it happened in the earlier in the film, because it has to do with the end of the film.
It's a huge moment.
Obviously, I was torn when she got killed. Like I was like, no, because the best thing about Deadpool.
Did you expect it though?
Not necessarily.
Once the movie
started,
me and Josh have been saying it since day one that we thought she was.
Once the movie
killed.
Started, I did, but before the movie, no, I didn't.
Really,
honestly. Yeah.
I'm surprised. I thought it was pretty obvious by like her not being really in the trailers, other than that one scene that she was gonna get nixed. I did not think that.
I thought about it, but I just thought he had to go do this mission, and she wasn't going to be around. That's what I thought.
I had a feeling and I wasn't tipped. I didn't read or anything. I was just like, they're for sure going to kill her off.
Yeah, I mean, I am 100% okay with them killing her off in the beginning. I thought it was a great plot device. I thought the story moved really well afterwards. It gave him purpose going forward because it led to the whole Cable meeting at Blind Al's house saying, "Oh, your dead girlfriend would have done this, whatever." And so it gave him purpose, and it led him to a different path, which eventually is going to let him, work with the team and understand these people. And so it worked. That the family is my F word. Go back to your F word.
And those scenes where he was like seeing her in the afterlife or whatever, those were great.
I joked with Brian. I was like, it's a soul world.
I know, right?
It's the soul
yeah,
world.
Exactly. Or the Black Panther thing.
Yeah, exactly.
He goes there. I love those scenes, and they kind of brought the film back to earth for a little bit.
Exactly.
It gave it those serious moments that it really needed. So I really love those moments. But I'm so glad she's not dead.
Yeah, it led to the post-credit scene. And obviously, and Deadpool always finds a way.
Yeah.
He got Negasonic Teenage Warhead to warp the time machine that Cable wears, and he went back in time and did all of his wrongs, cleaned all of his wrongs of past.
I couldn't believe that.
That was, for me, the best part of the whole movie.
Yeah, I mean,
Which
it was
is sad because that was the after credit scene.
Yeah, I mean, and so obviously he saved Vanessa. He used the butter knife the right way, killed the dude, and then he went to X-Men Origins and killed
himself.
Speechless Deadpool.
Exactly.
Which was, I thought it would have been amazing to actually shoot that scene over again and have Hugh Jackman back, but it was really cool how they used it. And he's like, and he just keeps shooting the body. He just keeps shooting the body like 8 or 10 times.
That made every time he shot him, I found myself laughing hard.
And then obviously the big one, Green Lantern.
Yeah,
he shot himself after he wrote the Green Lantern script. Ryan Reynolds is all smiley, and then he got a bullet hole through his head.
This is my big break.
Yeah, like it was such a cool moment, and the fact that they don't care and they just did it. And what was cool about it is that studios sometimes would be like, no, like that's stupid, you can't do that. Warner Brothers trolled it, and they tweeted photos and was like, we tried to put a ring on it, and it was Ryan Reynolds with a ring.
Oh yeah.
And then they had the alien was like, we want the costume back or whatever it is.
I saw those tweets.
And so they played along with it, which just added to the fun of it. So yeah, I mean,
they could have been like, why'd you put that in the movie?
Exactly. The post-credit scenes was, I mean, it's some of the best post-credit scenes out there.
Yeah, it was really cool. It was almost like a post-credit montage in a way, like just scene after scene after scene. It was really great. But the big one for me is saving Vanessa, because that's like story altering. The other ones were for fun. That was
saving Peter. Go home.
Oh yeah,
go
that
home.
was good too.
He's all XForce. Go home.
Yeah, that was story altering. So like that's good. I'm glad she's back because you can have her. It's
important to him.
It's important to him. But then I'm like, are the stakes erased though? That's my only little issue with it.
I don't think so.
I don't mind it in a Deadpool movie.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think so because it's Deadpool.
Exactly.
I don't.
If it were a serious movie where this happened, I wouldn't want to see it. Like if it happened in Logan, like some way similar, no. But in Deadpool, I'm totally fine.
Yeah. So I mean, it's definitely gonna be interesting to see how they use her going forward. If like how big of a role she plays, I don't think she will. But the fact that she's there for him is going to be interesting because of what he learned in this movie.
For sure.
And so I mean, I think we tried to almost covered everything.
We pretty much did. Honestly, I'm really surprised how much Brian disliked it, how much you're like mediocre
about
on
it. Yeah.
And I liked it even more, but only after my second viewing, honestly. Okay. I felt more like you after my first viewing, but I either appreciate films or dislike them more after a second viewing, so yeah, I think overall we're kind of have a middle ground. None of us think it absolutely sucks. Brian doesn't like it. Well, out of 10?
Yeah.
Man. I would give it a solid,
let's not do this. Is it better than the first?
No, absolutely
not. That's all we need to know. That's all we need to know.
That's true.
But see, I just wanted to know.
I mean, it helps you understand how I'm feeling. I would rate it around 7.5 or 8. I mean, that range.
See, now I rated it a 7.
Okay.
So for
really,
yeah. What did you?
You liked it better than I did.
I went between 6.5 and 7.
Yeah, that's kind of I'm not gonna 6.57. I'm not gonna give it a 6. I'm gonna give it 7 teddy bears out of 10 teddy bears.
There you go.
For Cable's daughter.
That works.
Okay, so you and I are on the same.
I think I'm on a lower scale though. I think I'm on a lower end of the 7. You were like a solid. I'm gonna give it a 7.10. I was teetering.
If I can give it a 7.8, that's my score. You know, like I'm on a higher end.
I was easily like 6.5 until the after credit scene. That's what pushed me up. Because I'm not kidding.
Don't count the after credit scene because that's not part of the movie. I wouldn't count that as part of. I'm not counting that as part of the movie for me.
Okay, then I would go 6.5.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's gonna do it for our Apocalypse movies review.
I like doing these, man. We gotta start doing these for the big movies.
Deadpool 2. Yeah, spoilers. I think we should more often these discussions and bring up topics. Solo's the next one, so we'll definitely be talking about that.
Seeing it Thursday.
Yeah, we are. We got to get together and do something about that. Thank you, Jake. Thank you, Brian. I am Jacob. We are Apocalypse Movies. Thanks for checking out our channel. Subscribe if you like movies and you want to hear us talk about them. We do our podcast on iTunes. Subscribe there and download. Thank you all for listening.